After a few days of clouds and rain, it was nice to have my first clear morning in China. And on this beautiful sunny day, we're finally gonna go and get my driver's license. Upon making it to the police station, I show all my documents to the police officer at the check-in, and we get told that they can't do anything with these documents unless I can show them a photo I have for my license. And fortunately, that could be done literally in the next building, but quite a weird way to check that everything was okay. It seemed like the most important thing that they needed was my photo. I have all my documents ready, and we're gonna go see if I can get a license now. I also want to take a moment to point out, in China, they filter pretty much everyone's face so it appears whiter and younger, and I feel like I look especially odd when I have this filter put on me. Once I had that sorted, it was time for the moment of truth. And it turns out it was actually super easy. Turns out that the biggest caveat I had to deal with was choosing whether I wanted to get a 4-month temporary license or a 6-year one. If I chose the 6-year license, I would have to take the written exam, or if I wanted to get the 4-month license, I wouldn't need to do anything. So I obviously went with the 4-month license. For a Chinese license, I would need to have a name that's in Mandarin. Since I couldn't think of one, Sun decided that it would be funny if I went with the name Mantou, or steamed bun in English. Since it was my favorite snack to eat in China, and seeing as how it made all the police officers in the building laugh, and food-related names seemed to be my theme, I thought it was a perfect fit. So I got my Chinese license, and it's a temporary one though. It's only for 3 months. This was actually the easiest thing, and I thought it was gonna be much harder. Pretty surprised that this worked out as easily as it did. So yeah, but also I'm really grateful I have a really good friend that can help me out here, because I don't think I could have done this without her help. To celebrate me getting my license, we're getting some stir-fried noodles with some more stir-fried noodles with some teas, and we had some ice cream earlier. So one thing I gotta say about the food here is that after being in so many different countries, I just have to say that Chinese food I think is easily the best food, hands down. It's so tasty, everything is so good. Even like the simplest looking dish has more flavor than pretty much anything I've had in most other countries. After lunch, we make our way back to the motorcycle shop where we discuss with the owner actual numbers this time, the legality of me buying versus renting a motorcycle, and of course, the price for all of this. How much would you pay me if I ran through this spider web full of all these spiders? There's no debris, that's pretty much all spiders. At the same time, Sun and I meet a very interesting man who takes a keen interest in us, and especially me. The way he dressed reminded me of a Chinese version of someone from Sons of Anarchy. He didn't speak any English, and me and him spent a good bit of time trying to talk to each other using WeChat's translator feature. After chatting for a little bit, he invites us to go and hang out at this barbecue area / campsite that he's been staying at. Sun asked if I wanted to go, and I obviously couldn't say no to this side quest, so we decided to join him. For this ride, I decided to set my GoPro on ultra wide mode and proceed to shoot some of the ugliest footage I have ever shot. The distortion on this is so bad, I really hate it. I wish I had just kept it on normal mode. Unfortunately, I couldn't tell while using it how bad the footage was gonna look, so there's obviously post-processing commentary on that fact. Because when you're looking at it through the GoPro screen, it doesn't look that bad, but yeah, it's pretty bad to me. Turns out, when we get there, they had already finished grilling, but they were kind enough to offer us some Coke and tea. I find it really funny that everyone in the world seems to really love Coca-Cola. After hanging out for a bit and chatting, it was time to head out. Sun mentioned that there was another motorcycle shop that she had caught wind of that was recommended to her that we should go check out. The owner of the previous shop was actually being a stickler to us on price, and she was saying that we might be able to find a better deal at this new shop. We make our way there, and immediately, the owner is all smiles and joy. He shows us around the shop and shows us his vast array of motorcycles. After sitting and chatting with him, Sun explains to him our plan and what we're trying to do. After listening to our story, he says that he's more than willing and would gladly help us with the motorcycle. He pretty much told me that I could take any motorcycle that I wanted in his shop. So the owner of the motorcycle shop is currently taking apart the bike that I'm gonna rent because he's gonna tune it out a little bit and make sure everything is like in tip-top shape, because I'm just gonna be driving the bike for, to be honest, I have no idea how far we're gonna be driving and how long this is gonna be. I just know we're gonna be driving for about 50 days. And here I am picking up the bike. The owner washed it for me and installed a really cool phone mount, which I'm gonna have to figure out how that works in a second here. I have the key. It looks all spick and span. I mean, there's some cosmetic damage and stuff on the bike already, but I mean, it's a used bike, so I don't really care at all about that. But yeah, I have 3 trunks. These trunks are waterproof. So if it rains and stuff like that, oh, this is kind of tough to do with one hand. There you go. You open it up. These trunks are waterproof and they're lined. You can fit a bunch of stuff. They have little pockets. So yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, I have the GoPro mounts here. Yeah, the owner was like, it's all right if you drop it and if it gets scratched, it's not a big deal. He's not gonna take out of my deposit. But, oh, he updated the lights. I think they're pretty much the same, but just like a brighter version, what he told me. This bike is super heavy and I'm a little bit nervous riding it just because of the weight. I'm not used to the weight, and turning it, I don't want to accidentally drop it. So we hit, I think, the biggest problem, and it's the problem that I think I was the most worried about, and it happened. Well, I can't pay for the bike. The bike rental itself isn't super expensive. I mean, it's pricier than what I paid for pretty much anything so far on this trip, but none of my payment methods will go through. Like, they just won't let me here. WeChat and Alipay are like super restrictive when it comes to stuff like that. And I don't know why. I tried contacting their support and they were like, oh no, you need to talk to your bank or credit card. But then I called Chase and Chase is like, yeah, everything's fine. So like, I don't know, it would work fine. Just, yeah. So I don't know. So now the plan is to try and go to the bank and withdraw cash to pay for this. So we'll see if that works. And if not, I don't know, we'll have to figure it out. Now that we're gonna ride to the bank, I can't actually take this because I haven't paid for it. And Sun's bike is loaded with gear. They're currently, I guess, doing a tire patch. But yeah, so when they're done with that, Sun and I are gonna take this scooter and we're gonna go to the bank and try and get cash. So yeah, it's really annoying, I'm not gonna lie, that I can't pay using my credit card, even though it should work. But I guess that's like part of the caveat with traveling. Sun's being an influencer here and documenting her tire puncture. Okay, so after like an hour of faffing, I was able to get all the money I need. But pretty much I had to go to the main bank and go to the bank teller. And I talked to the teller, and turns out that they don't accept Visa or MasterCards at the physical locations. It's only Chinese cards. So pretty much I could only use the ATMs which were like internationally approved or rated. And turns out that I was able to increase my ATM withdrawal limit with one of my bank cards, and then I still didn't have enough money though, because I had to pay for this rental, the deposit, and just like insurance and a few other things. So I need to have everything in lump sum of cash and pay everything right now. And pretty much the only way to get like my last little bit of cash was by having a Wise account. And I'm fortunate that I had this Wise account because I transferred money to my Wise account and then I just withdrew from the ATM with the Wise account. I did have to pay a bit of a fee to transfer the money like instantaneously, which adds to that. But compared to like paying the WeChat or the Alipay merchant fees, I actually think it like is cheaper this way, even though it was more of a pain in the ass and way more convoluted and not a fun process. Okay, so I just counted it. There's 15,000 here. This is the stupidest thing I've ever had to do. This is the biggest stack of cash I've ever seen. The ATM only gives out hundreds, so this is a lot of money. I categorized it into stacks of 1,000, so that's why there's one fold up top. But yeah, it's really stupid. But you feel like a baller holding this much cash. Something I also didn't say earlier was that nobody actually uses cash in China. That's why their bill only goes to 100. So me paying in cash is actually considered super weird to them. Making our way to the old village now. I mean, technically we're in it, but there's like a more touristy area. Oh, there's welcome in English. So let's walk around and see if we find anything cool to take pictures of. This is really cool. So I'm realizing after being here for a little bit that this is the same old town where I went to have the hand peel off. I'm recognizing all of the buildings and even the way we walked. But obviously since the light is so different, it kind of looks and feels like a different place. One of the really cool things about exploring these old villages is just seeing how they implemented like their old style architecture with modern day tech. I find that to be really, really cool. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get tired of walking through these old cities. I actually was hoping I would find something like this in Vietnam, and it was kind of a bummer that like I never did, because this is kind of like what I was hoping for when I went to Vietnam like months and months ago. It's really cool, and I can't get over being here. Like maybe the novelty will wear off at some point, but like right now I'm really, really liking it. Most of these tourist shops kind of, once you kind of start seeing them, you realize that they're all kind of selling the same stuff over and over again. I guess that this old town is, you know, it was kind of preserved, I think, to be a tourist town. So I feel like that's all the shops were converted to. But it would be cool to see what this town used to be. It's stuff like this that I find super cool. Like going down little alleyways like this and just being the most local looking place ever. Like I find that to be nothing but cool. This probably has to be the most peaceful, touristic village I've ever been to. We're gonna try and find some food here and then celebrate and then just kind of, I don't know, faff about for the night. I think the best thing about Asia is checking out all the food markets and stalls. They always have such cool and unique things there, and it's pretty much always where the locals go and eat because it's cheap, it's good, and it's really quick. So everywhere I go, I always try and eat at least one food market in every country I go to, but I also try and do it in every city because every city is vastly different in what they eat. So after doing a quick lap, Sun suggested that we try and get stinky tofu. I've never tried that. She's laughing at me saying this. So yeah, I don't know how it's gonna be, but this is probably the coolest night food market I've seen. And everybody keeps saying hello to me because they keep saying a white guy, so that's cool. Stinky tofu starts with a firm tofu soaked in a pungent brine of fermented vegetables, bamboo shoots, and herbs. Sun told me that this particular stinky tofu is also dyed with squid ink to give it that black color. Left to ferment for days, it develops this signature aroma that smells terrible. Then it is dropped into hot oil and fried. Once cooked, the strong smell is even more intense. Like, seriously, it smelled bad before they cooked it, and the whole area reeked even more once they were finished frying it. It was insane. It's crispy on the outside and soft and chewy on the inside. It's served piping hot, and this particular tofu was served with garlic sauce, chili oil, and some pickled vegetables. And the whole thing smelled terrible. I have no other way of putting it. Like, it smelled gross. So here it is. Stinky tofu. Because I don't actually know what it's called, but it smells like shit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
We have the stinky tofu, and it's pretty good. After like trying a few pieces, it's really not that bad. Would I get it again? Probably. It's not bad, but well, you have to really like tofu, let me put it that way. If you don't like tofu, then probably not. Walking back to my hotel for the last night, where we're gonna pack and then get ready for the real adventure, the whole reason why we came here, which was to motorcycle cross China together. Like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. See you in the next one.